All right, wine lovers, buckle up. We are diving headfirst into the captivating world of French wine.
So let me tell you, getting to explore this topic with you, it's like uncorking a treasure chest of history and flavor.
I love that. And that's what we're all about in these deep dives, right? Uncovering those hidden gems. So, no dusty history lessons here.
Mm.
This is about understanding what makes French wine so special.
Absolutely. It's a story that's deeply intertwined with the land, the people, and centuries of tradition. Did you know, for instance, that the very roots of French winemaking can be traced back to, wait for it, the Romans?
Okay, I know the Romans loved their wine, but France? I thought they were all about conquering the world, not cultivating grapes.
Well, they were certainly good at both, but you see, they recognized, even back then, that Gaul, as they called it, had the ideal terroir for growing grapes.
Terroir. It's one of those words you hear thrown around a lot in the wine world. What does it actually mean?
It's the magic formula. It encompasses everything from the soil and climate to the lay of the land and even the traditional practices of a region. It's what makes each wine unique, a true reflection of its place of origin.
So the Romans recognized this magic in France.
They did. And they didn't just plant a few vines and call it a day. They brought with them a structured system of viticulture, a way of cultivating grapes that would shape French winemaking for centuries to come.
Wow, those togas were hiding some serious wine knowledge. But it wasn't just the Romans, was it? I seem to remember something about monasteries playing a pretty big role, too.
Ah, yes, those entrepreneurial monks. During the Middle Ages, the church, particularly those Cistercian monks, became major players in the French wine world.
It does seem a bit ironic. Monks and wine. Who knew?
Well, wine held a significant place in their religious ceremonies, but they also recognized its, shall we say, economic potential.
Smart cookies, those monks. But then, didn't disaster strike in the 19th century? I'm thinking about a plague, something that almost wiped out French wine altogether.
Ah, yes, the phylloxera epidemic. It was a devastating period for French winemakers. Just imagine this tiny insect, almost invisible to the naked eye, nearly decimated two-thirds of the vineyards in France.
Two-thirds. That's unfathomable. How did they even begin to recover from something like that?
It was a moment of truth for French winemaking. They could have given up, thrown in the towel, but instead, they chose resilience. They chose innovation.
So what did they do?
They turned to a rather ingenious solution: grafting. They took their precious vinifera vines, the ones that produce those world-renowned French wines, and grafted them onto hardy American rootstock, which was resistant to the dreaded phylloxera.
Grafting. It's like giving the French vines a whole new lease on life.
It was a game changer. And it speaks volumes about the French dedication to their wines. They were willing to adapt, to start over, to preserve their heritage.
Okay, you've officially schooled me on the history of French wine, but let's get down to the good stuff. Let's talk grapes.
Finally, the stars of the show. And where better to start than with Cabernet Sauvignon, the queen of Bordeaux?
Cabernet Sauvignon, it's the grape that everyone seems to know and love. What makes it so special?
It's the structure, the bold tannins, those complex aromas that can evolve for decades in a bottle. We're talking black currant, cedar, sometimes even tobacco and leather as it ages.
It's the kind of wine you savor.
Right, absolutely. But Cabernet Sauvignon can be a bit, well, serious, and that's where its partner in crime, Merlot, comes in.
Ah, Merlot. It often gets a bad rap, but it can be delicious. What does it bring to the table?
Think of Merlot as the peacemaker, the one who smooths out Cabernet Sauvignon's rough edges. It adds softness, fruitiness, a velvety texture. Especially in blends, it creates that beautiful harmony.
Like the yin to Cabernet Sauvignon's yang. I love it.
Yeah.
But we can't forget about Pinot Noir, the grape of Burgundy.
Yes, Pinot Noir, the heartbreak grape. It's notoriously difficult to grow, demanding the perfect conditions to truly shine.
And that's where Burgundy comes in, right? This region seems to have cracked the code when it comes to Pinot Noir.
Burgundy is Pinot Noir's playground. It's all about those climates, those tiny plots of land that Burgundians obsess over, each one with its own unique soil aspect and microclimate.
So it's like each bottle of Burgundy Pinot Noir is a snapshot of a very specific place.
Precisely. And that's what makes them so special, so sought after. Each one is a taste of Burgundy's soul. But enough about those reds for now. We've got a whole world of white wines to explore.
Oh, I'm all for that. Bring on the white.
Oh.
But I have to admit, when it comes to French whites, my go-to is usually Sauvignon Blanc.
A classic for a reason. But you see, even within the realm of Sauvignon Blanc, France offers incredible diversity.
Really? I thought Sauvignon Blanc was pretty straightforward. Crisp, refreshing, citrusy. What else is there?
Oh, you have so much to discover. Think about the Loire Valley. Their Sauvignon Blancs, especially from regions like Sancerre, are in a league of their own.
Okay, you've piqued my interest. What makes them so different?
It all comes down to that magic word again, terroir. The Loire Valley, with its unique combination of limestone soils and a cool climate, imparts a distinct minerality to its Sauvignon Blancs.
Minerality, like I can actually taste the soil.
Exactly. It's that flinty, almost salty note that adds another layer of complexity. But Sauvignon Blanc is just the tip of the iceberg. The Loire Valley is a treasure trove of diverse white grapes, like Chenin Blanc.
Chenin Blanc, isn't that like a sweet wine?
It can be, but it's a grape of incredible versatility. In the Loire, you'll find it vinified in a range of styles, from bone-dry to off-dry, even sparkling.
Hold on, sparkling Chenin Blanc. I need to try this. It sounds like the Loire Valley is a region of hidden gems.
You could say that, and that's the beauty of French wine. From the bold reds of Bordeaux to the elegant whites of the Loire, there's a world of flavors waiting to be explored.
Sparkling Chenin Blanc, huh? You've definitely given me something new to look for. But before we get too sidetracked, let's get back to those intriguing climates you mentioned. I'm dying to know more about how the Burgundians pinpoint these tiny parcels of land and the impact it has on the wine.
Ah, the climates. It's more than just pinpointing parcels of land. It's about understanding the soul of the vineyard. It's like they've mapped out Burgundy's DNA down to the individual rows of vines.
DNA, that's a great way to put it. So tell me, what are they looking for when they define a climate? Is it all about the soil?
Soil is a huge part of it, of course, but it goes far beyond that. They take into account the slope of the land, the exposure to sunlight, even the direction the vines face, north, south, east, west.
It's mind-boggling how much detail goes into it. But I guess that's what makes Burgundy, Burgundy, right? This obsession with precision, with terroir, with capturing the essence of a place in a bottle.
You're catching on. And it's not just some modern fad. This reverence for terroir has been ingrained in Burgundy for centuries. Remember those monks we talked about? Well, they played a significant role in shaping Burgundy's vinicultural landscape.
Wait, the monks again? I thought they were just experts in, well, monastic things.
You might be surprised by how much those monks knew about wine. Many of the most iconic vineyards in Burgundy today can trace their origins back to the meticulous work of monastic orders, particularly the Cistercians during the Middle Ages.
No way. So while they were chanting and praying, they were also, like, pioneering viticulture.
Exactly. They were pioneers in understanding the subtle nuances of terroir, recognizing that even the slightest variation in slope or soil could dramatically impact the quality of the grapes.
Those monks were like the OG sommelier. But I think we need to move on from the history lesson, or I'm going to get totally sidetracked. We've covered the bold reds of Bordeaux, the nuanced Pinot Noirs of Burgundy. Where to next on our Venus adventure?
Let's shift gears, shall we? Imagine yourself transported to the Loire Valley. Picture rolling hills, vineyards bathed in sunshine, and a gentle breeze carrying the scent of wildflowers.
The Loire Valley. I've heard it's absolutely stunning, like stepping into a fairy tale.
It's truly magical, and the wines of the Loire are a reflection of that charm. They're known for their elegance, their finesse, and a certain, how should I say, je ne sais quoi.
Ooh, je ne sais quoi. Now, you're just trying to make me jealous. But I have to ask, when I think Loire, my mind immediately jumps to Sauvignon Blanc.
You're not alone. Sauvignon Blanc is indeed one of the Loire Valley's calling cards. But we're not talking about your average Sauvignon Blanc here. These are wines that showcase the grape's full potential, especially in regions like Sancerre and Pouilly-Fumé.
Okay, you're making me thirsty. What sets these Loire Sauvignon Blanc apart?
It all boils down to, you guessed it, terroir. The Loire Valley has this unique combination of limestone-rich soils and a cool northerly climate that imparts a distinct minerality and complexity to its Sauvignon Blanc.
Minerality. We're back to that word again. But it's true. I've noticed that flinty, almost salty quality in some Sauvignon Blancs. It's like a taste of the earth itself.
That's exactly it. And the Loire Valley is a master at capturing that essence. But don't let Sauvignon Blanc overshadow the Loire's other treasures. This region is a champion of diversity when it comes to grapes.
Oh, I'm all ears. What else does the Loire have up its sleeve?
Well, for starters, there's Chenin Blanc. Now, you might think of Chenin Blanc as a sweet wine, but in the Loire, it shows its true versatility.
Versatile how? Give me the details.
Hold onto your hats. In the Loire Valley, you'll find Chenin Blanc vinified in a spectrum of styles, from bone-dry and mineral-driven to off-dry with honeyed notes, and even, get this, sparkling.
Sparkling Chenin Blanc. Now we're talking. It sounds like the Loire is a region where you can really go on a wine adventure.
Precisely. It's a region that encourages exploration, a place where you can discover hidden gems and expand your wine horizons. And speaking of expanding horizons, are you ready to head south, where the sun shines a little brighter and the wines pack a bit more punch?
South it is. But before we lose ourselves in those southern French vineyards, I have to say something that's been swirling around in my mind this whole time.
Oh, I'm intrigued. Tell me, what's got you thinking?
It's bigger than any specific grape or region. It's like this underlying question. How does French wine do it? How does it maintain that reputation for excellence, that certain, I don't know, mystique?
Ah, the mystique of French wine. It's a question that has captivated wine lovers for centuries. And the answer, well, it's not so simple. It's a tapestry woven from centuries of history, tradition, a deep respect for terroir.
Okay, we've talked about all that, but it feels like there's got to be more to it. Like, is there some secret society of French winemakers upholding these ancient traditions?
Well, not a secret society exactly, but there is an organization, a governing body, if you will, that plays a crucial role in maintaining the standards of French wine. Remember that INO acronym from the research I sent you?
The INAO, right? The Guardians of French Wine or something like that.
You got it. The Institut National des Appellations d'Origine. They're the ones who set the rules, the regulations, the very framework that defines what makes a French wine, well, French.
Okay, so they're like the referees of the wine world, making sure everyone's playing by the rules.
Precisely. They're the ones who determine which grapes can be grown where, the methods that are allowed for production, even how much wine can be made each year.
Wow, it sounds pretty intense, but I guess that's how they maintain that level of quality, right?
Exactly. It's all about protecting the integrity of those geographical indications, those AOCs we've been discussing.
Right, the AOCs, they're like a stamp of authenticity, a guarantee that you're getting what you pay for.
Precisely. When you see that AOC on a bottle of French wine, you know it has met strict standards, that it's a true expression of its terroir, of its region, of its heritage.
It's like a badge of honor for French winemakers.
Absolutely. But it's not about stifling creativity. In fact, it's quite the opposite. The INAO system, with its emphasis on terroir and tradition, actually encourages innovation within those boundaries.
So it's like a delicate dance between tradition and innovation.
Exactly. And nowhere is that dance more evident than in the Rhone Valley, our next stop on this French wine odyssey.
The Rhone. Finally, we've been teasing this southern escape for a while now. What makes the Rhone so unique in the grand scheme of French wine?
Well, for starters, it's a region of contrasts, dramatically split into two distinct personalities, the northern Rhone and the southern Rhone.
Two regions, two personalities, two very different wine experiences, I'm guessing.
You're catching on.
Okay.
In the north, you have steep granite slopes, a rugged, almost unforgiving landscape that produces wines of incredible intensity and structure.
Sounds intense. What kind of grapes can handle that kind of terrain?
Syrah. This is Sarah's heartland.
Syrah. Now you're speaking my language. I do love a good Syrah, but I have to admit I mostly associate it with, like, Australian wines.
Yeah.
What sets Northern Rhone Syrah apart?
Oh, prepare to have your mind blown. We're talking wines of depth, complexity, aging potential that can span decades. Think aromas of black olives, smoked meat, black pepper, even violets, all wrapped up in a tannic structure that can, frankly, be a bit intimidating in its youth.
Okay, I'm officially intrigued. So if I'm going to delve into the Northern Rhone, what name should I be looking for?
Hermitage. That's the king of the hill. Wines of legendary power and longevity. But don't overlook Côte Rôtie, known for its elegant, almost floral Syrahs. And then there's Cornus, producing wines that are, well, let's just say they're not for the faint of heart.
Cornus, got it. Definitely adding that to my must-try list. But what about the Southern Rhone? More Syrah down there.
Not quite. As you journey south, the landscape softens, the climate warms, and a different grape takes center stage. Grenache.
Grenache. That's a name I know and love. A little more approachable than those tannic Syrahs.
Right, exactly. Grenache is all about warmth, generosity, and a certain joie de vivre. Think flavors of ripe cherries, strawberries, licorice, and a hint of spice. And Châteauneuf-du-Pape is the star of the show down south.
Châteauneuf-du-Pape. Just the name sounds like a celebration.
And it often is. These are wines meant for sharing, for feasting, for embracing the good life.
Okay, now you're making me hungry. I need to plan a trip to the Rhone Valley, stat.
It's a journey every wine lover should make at least once. But amidst all this talk of powerful reds and sun-drenched vineyards, let's not forget about the king of celebrations, the region that embodies elegance and
But
festivity.
you're talking about champagne. It's like the ultimate indulgence.
Champagne is in a league of its own. It's a region that has perfected the art of sparkling wine, creating wines that are synonymous with celebration, luxury, and sheer enjoyment.
But what makes champagne so special? Is it the grapes? The climate?
It's a combination of factors all coming together in perfect harmony. The cool climate and chalky soils of the region play a crucial role, imparting a unique minerality and acidity to the wines.
Ah, there's that minerality again. It really is everywhere, isn't it?
It's the foundation. And then there's the method champenoise, that meticulous process of creating those delicate bubbles through a second fermentation in the bottle. It's what gives champagne its signature finesse and complexity.
It's true. You can't rush perfection. And a perfect glass of champagne is something truly special.
It's a testament to the dedication and artistry of champagne producers who have honed their craft over centuries. And that, I think, is the essence of French wine, from the humblest bottle to the grandest champagne: a deep respect for tradition, a relentless pursuit of quality, and a passion for capturing the soul of a place in every glass.
Beautifully said. You've given us so much to think about, so much to savor. As we wrap up our French wine adventure, what's the one thing you hope our listeners take away from this deep dive?
More than anything, I hope we've sparked a sense of curiosity, a desire to explore the world of French wine with open minds and adventurous palates. Don't be afraid to step outside your comfort zone, to ask questions, to try new things.
Cheers to that. And to all of you listening, we encourage you to uncork a bottle, gather your friends, and embark on your own French wine adventure. You never know what treasures you might discover. Until next time, happy sipping.